pageant crown.
Yes.
And are you actually is it a beauty pageant that you have this crown for, or is it some other kind of pageant?
So I am Miss Louisiana Universal 2018. And so, yay!
Miss Louisiana. But that's MS Louisiana,
Yes.
not MISS.
No.
Okay, so let's break this down. You're
Absolutely.
Miss Louisiana Universal.
Yes.
What does that actually?
So Universal is a pageant system, and so the pageant world is a pretty big world of its own.
Right.
And so you've got Universal, America.
Tell us about the beauty pageant.
Yes. And so as a little girl, I always wanted to be a princess. And, as I got older, because, we go through struggles in life.
How little were you?
How little was I?
When you went
I
before
really
Bonneville
young.
High School.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you gave up the princess thing.
Oh, Lord, yeah. I
Okay.
had totally given up my dreams of
being a
because I didn't feel like I was the ideal look, or, I didn't have the things that would make you a beauty queen. And so it was just kind of like one of those, oh, nice to woulda, wanna, shoulda, coulda. But then I let that go for many, many years. And I came up on my 35th birthday, and I was just like, you know what, what's my next chapter gonna look like? And I had done so much self-work and had worked on my level of confidence to such an extreme that I was like, you know what, I wanna be a queen. And I started doing the research.
You started doing beauty pageants at the age of 35.
Yes, I had never done a pageant before, nothing.
Wow.
And I started doing research, and this was such a mind-blowing thing for me. Anything you want is available to you, no matter what age you are, how young, how old. Anything you want is available to you. There's a category for you. There's beauty pageants for women in their 60s. There's something for everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
If you could drink there, I would go to that. I would go to that for sure.
The 60-year-old beauty
Just
pageant.
hang at a bar and watch, a 60-year-old women own it. I would
Amen to
watch
that.
that.
To
That
be
sounds
able to,
great.
no matter what stage in life you are, to
Yeah.
step into your confidence and your power
Yeah.
and your beauty,
Yeah.
and not have to attest to or kind of step into what everybody else says it should be, based off what you
that's
saw
the
in a
big question,
magazine.
though. But isn't that the big question? Why did you need the affirmation of other people
Oh,
to tell you that
no.
you're
It
fabulous?
wasn't about needing the affirmation of
It's
other
about
people.
flaunting, baby.
Stop you right there, Grant.
What made you want to be in a competition?
What made me want to be able to be the queen that I saw myself being when I was a young girl, it wasn't about outside affirmation, it was about internal confirmation.
But a beauty pageant is other people judging you whether you like that or not. That's what it is.
Baby, when you walk out on the street every day, somebody's judging you.
Yeah, but you can
And you
ignore
choose
that.
to walk out that door,
Yeah, but you can ignore
and
that.
you're right. You're
You
right.
don't have to worry about what people think of you. That's irrelevant.
And I don't.
Okay, so what made you want to have this affirmation of a panel of judges telling you that you really are beautiful?
Oh, no, it's not about them telling me that I was beautiful. It was about being in a place and space in my life when I knew it and was not afraid
Right.
to get on a stage and be able to show it.
Okay, and what if you hadn't won?
So
She wouldn't have cared.
I went to the Miss Union. So after the state title, you go to the nationals. I
Okay.
went to nationals. I came in fourth runner-up. So technically, I didn't win. But guess what? I'm
That's
still a
pretty
queen.
cool. You're the fourth best-looking person in America.
Well, see, but here's the thing. It's
That's
beyond
pretty impressive.
looks.
Fourth Universal.
What does that
In the
mean?
universe, right? Exactly. A fourth best
else?
looking person in the universe.
What are the
It's
qual-
beyond looks, because it's also about what you choose to use your platform for.
Okay.
What you use, that. What you do with the title, not just about, oh, how pretty can you, how great do you look in a gown. That's not what it's all about. And when I started doing my research into pageant systems, that was some of the things I was looking for.
Right.
To be able to look for, what is this really about? Is it just about having a pretty face? I mean, yeah, I got that. But what else?
Well, what else was it about?
Yeah, it was also about the humanitarian work that you do. Matter of fact, through my platform, I ended up becoming a gold medal recipient of the President's Volunteer Service Award.
What year was that?
Last year, 2018.
This president.
Yes.
You got an award from President. You're the most interesting person I think we've ever had on the show in the 9 years we've been.
I was like, why of all years?
You got a a medal from President Trump.
A gold medal.
Did you get it presented by him?
No, they send it to you.
Do they? Just
Yeah.
in the mail? It just shows up?
So when
What's
we go
on it?
to our nationals, they will bring the awards because it gets sent to the actual director of the system, and so we got presented with our awards at our nationals.
But this,
Yes.
but you got the president's, what is it called?
I'll show it to you.
Can you?
Yeah, it's
What is it
called
called?
the
The President-
President's Volunteer Service Award, and I was a gold medal recipient.
Well, that's impressive, right? You have to admit that, Danielle.
I
Have you
admit it.
got any awards or
I
anything?
support it. Have
Yeah.
I gotten any awards? No.
Nothing from the president? Never
Nothing
heard
from
from
the
President
president.
Trump or anything?
No.
You've done a
Not
whole
yet.
interesting thing since we saw you live. You've got a whole new band with a whole
do.
new
A whole new
sound.
band. Yes.
Sound, I mean, and you have an electric guitar.
Maybe
even.
some sand too, but
Some
mostly
sand.
new sound.
And you have an electric guitar. Here's the
I
medal.
do.
Oh my God, look at that. President Trump's signature on it. Can you see that? I can't see that. Can you?
It's too small.
It's too small for me. Well, this is why I wear these glasses. Mark can see it. Give it to Mark Sanders.
I
and
think
a
it's-
certificate?
I guess you get an award, like a medal and the certificate. Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Do you get any sort of money?
Touching.
No.
So just the glory of being a.
Yeah,
that
I
is
think
pretty
they're trying to
friggin'
use
cool,
that
like.
for the.
Viola, violin. I'm playing violin, or there's upright bass, drums, guitar. Sometimes there's a keys player in there too. A whole big old group of sound.
That's cool. And how did you come up with this? Was it intentional? Did you put it all together, or
I did put it all together.
So you had the idea in your head first.
For a while, I kind of when I write songs, I do a lot of layering and like a sound recording system. For my technology, I use GarageBand on a Mac, so
Okay.
very up to date. It's
Are they paying
speed
you to
with
say that or
things.
anything?
I wish.
That would be
You
nice.
can pay me to say that if you're listening.
Okay.
And so I sit there and I kind of pluck around on the violin, and then I'll add another layer, and then next thing I knew, it was a bunch of sounds. So I was like, I can't play all this stuff at the same time. Let's get a whole band together. And there we go.
Very exciting. And the new band is called Dianella.
Yes.
Dianella.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which is confusing because your name is Danielle.
It is very
It's got me confused in the course of this week while we've been putting the show together.
I anticipate that a lot in the
Really?
future, yeah.
Are you going to have to change your name to Dianella if this thing works
Maybe.
out?
I might just let people call me Dianella, or either way. I'm not too
C-Rock
concerned
pointed
about
out
it.
when we were putting this thing together today that it sounds like Dianetics.
I guess it does.
Are you familiar with Dianetics? You don't know? C-Rock will tell you a little bit about what Dianetics is. What exactly is it, see?
I think you can do a better job than I can do.
I don't
You went through it, right?
I've done it. No, Dianetics is Scientology.
Okay, was it like a mental mastery
Yeah,
program?
no,
or
I haven't.
something?
Have you done that?
No,
I haven't
it's
done it.
Ron Hubbard's.
L. Ron
right,
Hubbard.
Right, okay.
He wrote the book called Dianetics, which is...
Oh my God, I have that book. I've never read it.
Hey, you should read it. Do you know what's on page 12? It's like how to... Have you seen those billboards? I don't think they have them here, probably. Like how to change the world, page 12. It's and then
Page 12
Tonight, I'm
It's-
going to go
of
read
this book
Yeah,
that
of
my band name
Dianetics.
sounds like.
check out Dianetics.
I should use that
Yes,
to
the
my
book is like
advantage.
this thick. Yes.
Well, if it's on page 12, it's not that far in. I
That's
guess
the
you
whole
could just
thing.
read to page
It's a
30 and be
gigantically
okay.
thick book, and by page 12, you've already like changed the world and gone to another level, another planet. Oh, it's pretty amazing stuff. You should totally read it. Self-help books.
Today.
I can't guarantee page 12 is the best page, but I think it is pretty good. So listen, what
It had nothing to do with that. The name of the band.
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, you could still change it. That would be the thing to change it to.
I could change it.
That'll sue you in a second.
I wouldn't like that.
Be
I would
huge news.
I'd have
Yeah.
no idea what to do.
That'd be
with
great
that.
news.
Wouldn't it? Well, Havel, I
Yeah.
can tell you, because Havel's an expert at
Plain the
publicity.
Yeah.
The publicity
She wrote a book
magnet.
called, she's the publicity magnet right here. Would that be a good idea to change the name of the band to Dianetics, the same as Scientology? and
It
be
would
sued?
not be a good idea.
Would not. Okay, don't listen to me.
You want to go through a lot of legal red tape and
You'll
That
get
doesn't
and
sound like my
publicity.
idea of a Friday night.
Exactly.
You know?
There's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
that's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Okay. What would the definition of bad publicity be? That kind of...
The kind that ruins reputations, that makes people not trust, like, or want to know you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would take issue with that. I know that you wrote the book, How to Become a Publicity Magnet. But I've seen enough episodes of VH1 Behind the Music to know that there's a trajectory here. It's an upward trajectory, and then it's way downward. But then there's a redemption story. And so what I'm saying is that the kind that ruins reputations, that's just staging a comeback, baby. You know?
Okay.
Everybody loves a good comeback story.
People do love
VH1
a really good
loves a
comeback
good
story,
comeback story.
but is the drama worth it for your own life's peace?
Well, everybody has to decide what level of drama they're
Now,
willing
that's
to
true.
deal with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some have a higher tolerance than others.
Very true. Some
So-
people love drama.
Yeah, maybe you can add that. That will be like the next chapter of your book.
Yes, I can
How
do
to
a
stage a
revision.
good
It's hard to tell who he's looking at with these sunglasses. Are you talking to you about your book? Or Daniel, you're not writing a book, are you?
No.
Okay, grab that guitar and
Okay.
and I'm going to make you play us a song. Oh, maybe someone can grab it for you even. It's pretty... So
And it's
that's okay.
beautiful.
Look at this nice guitar. So this is a whole new thing since you were here last. You're a violin player.
It is.
So how did you...
I am a
Did you
violin
teach
player.
yourself to play the guitar or what happened? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's a very... Uh-oh, there's a lot of wires. Hang on.
And violin and piano, my two favorite instruments. So the fact that you can play violin, I'm super geeked out right now.
Yes.
It's a great instrument.
Beautiful instrument.
And what made you want to put down the violin and pick up the guitar? Just so you could do stuff like this?
Exactly. Yeah.
Happy hour? You knew that
I
happy...
still play violin all the time.
Right. Well, you play violin in the band, right?
Yes.
So-
and I play violin in this band too, but
I mean, that's
it's
what I mean.
more effective to play by yourself with a guitar.
Right.
It's got 2 more strings than a violin, so
But you have the same number of fingers, so that, I guess that
that's true.
makes it tricky. Okay. So what are you going to play?
Well, I was gonna ask y'all what you want to hear first. Do you want to hear a happy song or a sad song first?
Sad song.
Sad. Yep.
Sad song. Okay.
Bring
Happy.
it down, then we'll bring it up.
Okay. All right.
Redemption.
All right, here we go. I was wondering if I could tell a story that I've never told before. I was thinking back on when I was a wild horse, force no one had reckoned with before. I was running far and fast and long and free. I stumbled broken onto your front door. Your eyes filled to the brim with a childish glee. You took me and did everything for me. I've never known a heart so pure. Cared for me, always built a love that felt so sure. We became inseparable. We became a happiness. But most of all, we became a home. Don't let me run. No, don't let me run. No, don't let me run. No, don't let me run. I'm about to give up on the best thing I've ever had. All because sometimes I go a little mad. I was peacefully daydreaming when it caught my eye. Something in the distance shimmered by curiosity, searching me as it did before in years. Took off running faster than the wind. I turned to my side to share the splendor with you. don't let me run. No, don't let me run. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run. Oh, honey, 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 I pray that someday you'll see that if you love me, you would have set me free. Hey.
What a voice.
Yes.
How did you like that, Havila? What do you
That
think?
was amazing. It brought me back to, and I have not listened to this in so long. It used to be one of my favorite albums from Sugarland. And that's what it like brought, like that same feeling is what it brought back. Like, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed.
Thank you.
Mark Sanders.
I'm not used to performing
Yes,
with
sir.
people this close to me.
I know, it's very
I think my
intimidating.
face is like a great shade of fuchsia right now.
No, you did great.
Intimate.
It's super intimidating like this, I know, but you did a great job. You sound beautiful. Your voice is so strong, you can't even get far enough back from the microphone.
It's like, I know this part is coming. I'm going to back up a little bit more.
I saw you get
That's
ready.
a hell of a voice. Andrew, what do you think?
My thought was I really like your melodies. I think you have really thoughtful melodies,
Thank
and yeah, like just you were thoughtful the whole way. You know, you took your earphones off of one ear to listen. I was like, oh, you know, it took me a while to figure that one out. So you know, you just really, yeah, you got it
Very
going on.
nice.
It's really nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to make Mark Sanders tell us. We're going to go to question number 1 on your list of notes in front of you.
All right, all
So we'll be right back after this. Okay, we're back with Happy Hour. Mark Sanders, as promised, is going to go to his list. First of all, we should tell you who Mark is. You know who Mark is? Mark is the owner of the Ninth Ward Nursery, which is about the only business in the Ninth Ward that sells plants, as I am. The lower Ninth Ward. Are you
In
on
the
the
lower
lower
ninth
Ninth
ward.
Ward?
Yes, sir. Out in the middle of nowhere. In
How's
the
it
lower
going?
ninth
The
ward.
last time I saw you, which was a year ago or so,
Yeah, it was a few months ago.
was it only a few months ago?
Yeah, it was September, I believe. Yeah,
September of 2018.
I believe so. Yes,
So
sir.
you had started the nursery, but it wasn't a full-time gig. I get the feeling now that it's much more of a full-time business.
It's still not a full-time business. Yeah, I still can't leave the day job with the benefits and the
Right.
401k and
Well,
the
you're
financial
a
security.
writer during the day.
Yeah, I'm a writer and an editor. I edit travel magazines for a living, and my background's in editing and journalism, so it's something I really enjoy. But it's a nice kind of balance between having the editing work, but also getting to be outside and being among the plants, being in the greenhouse. It's
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's really gratifying.
Do you get to
So
travel?
many gifts.
Yeah. It's incredible how many people live in New Orleans that can do the most amazing things, isn't it? I know. This happens every week. It's crazy. I
Lucky
know.
you, and you get
I
to
know,
talk
we
to
get
all these
We get
folks.
to meet the most amazing range of people. It's astounding who's living in New Orleans. It really isn't it, Andrew?
Astounding
Yes.
who's living in New Orleans?
Yes.
I haven't lived anywhere else long enough to know.
I don't know. It seems like it's just a very small
An
town.
honest response.
It absolutely is, and something that I think that what you're getting at, Grant, is just how many people live here who have multiple things that they do that they're all good at. Not that I'm claiming I'm good at any of these things I do, but I
Are you
certainly
good at any of them? You're pretty good at running a nursery.
I know that I'm pretty obsessive about running a nursery,
Okay.
and sometimes people come and they pay for the plants that I sell, and then that allows me to continue running it. But I mean, good's a very subjective sort of
Does
notion.
anybody steal plants from a nursery?
People can steal just about anything from a nursery.
Do
so
they? Do people
yeah.
steal plants from?
Nobody's stolen plants yet, but
Coming at you.
Yeah.
Good thing that you
Thanks for
mentioned
giving
that.
our listeners some ideas,
Yeah.
Grant.
So what is the address of the place, and when are you not there?
What's the most expensive plant?
What should we get?
What should you get?
What should we steal
Oh,
first?
good lord! Well, you should.
You should steal nothing. Do you have calla lilies?
I actually just ordered some orange calla lilies that are coming in this weekend.
Okay.
Come
We're
on
gonna
by, my
be
friend.
talking.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's your
flower.
favorite flower. What do they look like?
Favorite.
Can you draw that on the table?
Can I draw? Ooh.
What is it? How do you
with
spell it,
this
first
beautiful
of all?
pen.
With a pen from
Who are the pens provided by?
NolaPens.com.
NolaPens.com.
NolaPens.com. It's a beautiful pen. Pick that up in a minute. Okay, here it is.
I'm sure this is really, really awesome listening
It is.
to.
Well, it's on Facebook
listening
Live.
to
It's on
some
Facebook Live. If you're listening to this as a podcast and you want to see what this sketch looks like, go to
Oh.
It's New Orleans Facebook page.
Oh, you did
There's
a great
Calla
job, my
Lily.
friend.
Yay.
All right,
You're very
excellent.
talented. So what color does Calla Lily come in?
Calla lilies
Orange.
come in all different sorts of colors. My mother used to grow white calla lilies. I'm getting in some orange. They come in reds. They come in yellows, all different colors.
Okay.
They're beautiful little tropical accent plants. They like a lot of water. But,
Where are you going to plant yours? Havila?
I'm gonna have to probably keep it in the pot.
Wait, do you not have a garden?
I do, but there's nothing in it. So maybe I should put the
Well, this is
calla
what
lilies.
you have
But-
in
but
Oh,
do
you
they do
came to
well
the right
here
place.
in
Yeah, they do
New
absolutely
Orleans?
fine
Okay.
here. Yeah, so my nursery specializes in a lot of tropical plants, and that's kind of my niche. Being a small, basically a one-man operation, I have to distinguish myself from what other nurseries carry, and you might be able to find calla lilies elsewhere, but I do carry a lot of things that you're not going to find at other nurseries. And as such, that allows me the flexibility of being kind of in an obscure part of the lower Ninth Ward that, I swear, so many of my customers come down, they say, I've never even been to this part of town. I've lived here my whole life, and, I've never been to this section of town. And so it makes it kind of like a fun little day trip, so to speak.
Where exactly
Coming down
is
there.
it?
Well, it's near the. Why? Because you want to come steal plants from me? Or what?
Just might be helpful in case there's
I'm
one
watching
person-
your ass, Grant.
Buy
When do
some
you
of your
close?
plants.
What time do you close?
Skinny guy, white ponytail. You're
Yeah.
gonna be kind of hard to
Look
miss
out.
down there.
I'm not going to steal any plants because I wouldn't even. I mean, how do you get them out of there?
Well, I mean, I'm not
Well,
going
I'm
to
not-
tell you how to steal my damn plants, Grant. Come on, man.
Is it?
Put your ring on the door.
No,
so when
seriously.
he walks up.
You got a combo lock or what?
Yeah, you need photos like to have the check. So, where actually is it? Seriously?
So you have you have the different bridges that go from the upper ninth and the lower ninth that go over the industrial canal. So people are familiar with the St. Claude Avenue Bridge, and then you have the big Claiborne Bridge, and then there's one that's far less traveled up north of that, closer to the lake, called the Florida Avenue Bridge.
Okay.
And it's a drawbridge, goes up and down, and like all drawbridges go. Sorry, it's an idiotic thing to say. Anyway, so it's a drawbridge, guys. Goes up and down.
All right.
It's above the water. That's wet. And,
Great vision.
Allows boats to go through. And I'm just on the other side of that bridge at the corner of Florida and Desalon Street.
Okay,
okay.
I'm really curious because to take
Yes.
care of plants takes a
Okay.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
nurturing and a lot of time and effort that you have put into obviously creating a nursery.
Absolutely.
So where did that come from?
I don't know. I mean, the story that I tell is that, I grew up in North Alabama. I'm very close with my family. My mother's always been a gardener, and I spent a lot of time outside as a child. I grew up right in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, and we had basically a giant forest in the backyard. And I just spent a whole lot of time in my backyard and in the mountains as a child. I grew up in the mid '80s and early '90s at a time when, everybody gets nostalgic about their childhood and says, oh, well, things were a lot simpler back then. But I mean, I genuinely did grow up in a time where my folks, the term helicopter parenting didn't exist. And my folks would just say, okay, go, come back when, the street lights come on or whatever. And I would spend all day back in the woods running around. And so I guess I developed that appreciation for nature as a child. And then having that bit of nature in your backyard was something that always very, very much appealed to me. And then growing up is something that's just always stayed with me. And I guess it's
where
kind
were
of
the-
amped up now.
Where were the street lights exactly?
Well, let's see. There's street lights. They were on
If
the
you were-
street,
if
my
you were
friend.
in the woods, how would you know when the?
Well, I mean,
I'm
I-
picturing the woods and the
I
mountains
don't-
and
I don't mean to-
Appalachia and people with banjos.
I don't mean to
Proverbial
characterize
streetlights.
this as like a cabin that was off grid or anything. No, I mean, it was a fairly suburban environment, but it was like kind of where the streets ended at
Where
the
the
very,
streets
very
have
edge of
no
town.
name.
Where the street.
More or less.
Damn it, Grant.
Okay.
I'm gonna go home with the song stuck in my head now.
What town was this exactly?
It was Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
Was your were your parents in the missile program or whatever?
Oh, that's funny. I've been asked that question so many times. No,
Yeah.
my father. No, my parents.
Wasn't that funny? Really?
Well, no, but it's not ha funny, but no, it's a very valid question because that is kind of like the research heavy part of Alabama that brings in a lot of engineers, and the space program has a large presence there. I remember being a child when I was growing up. The TV show Double Dare was on Nickelodeon, and the grand prize a lot of times for Double Dare was getting to go to space camp. I'm like, oh, that's my hometown. That's right down the street from me. And so kids always, you know about the ice cream, about the freeze-dried ice cream. Yeah. And so it's like, I had a little bit of cred, you know. I grew up in this town where, you know, there were like rockets and space shuttles and stuff, and that's where the space industry was developed. Yeah.
But you had no connection to that other than living there.
No, I mean,
your family wasn't employed by Martin Marietta or NASA or whoever.
No. My father did when he was very young, but
He did?
yeah, but then, you know, later on he transitioned.
So
over
why
other
did
things.
you leave? Why didn't you stay there for it's so cool?
Oh Lord, how long is this show again? Jeez.
What made you leave?
Well, I mean,
I've got questions.
Oh yeah, we haven't even got to your question. Do you want to get to one of yours now first?
well,
And then
yeah.
just tell us why you left, because that might
Well,
be
the reason I left is because you know, I grew up in a very conservative Bible Belty Southern town. I've always been I don't know, somewhat like nonconformist, artsy type kid, and I never really fit in. I mean, I'm an adult now. I don't have any of that teenage angst anymore, so I can say from a somewhat objective perspective, it just was never a really good fit for me. That said, I feel very, very much a Southerner. I still feel very much attached to where I grew up, and I miss it very much. Oh, bless you. So. So I left when I was 18. You know, it was kind of
because it was too small and conservative.
It was too small and conservative, and I wanted to see the world. And I thought, where can I go? I want to get as far away from. That was intense.
Poor guy. Allergies.
So I thought, where can I go where they still speak English? That's as far away as possible. So I ended up going to New Zealand, and I was there for about a year, and so I was doing a bunch of things there. And
what were you doing in New Zealand?
Oh Lord, God, I actually, that's where I got my start in gardening.
Okay.
So I used
Christchurch?
to. Well, no,
It's
no,
the
no.
Garden City.
I wasn't in Christchurch. Wait, are you from New Zealand?
I'm from Christchurch, New Zealand.
No kidding.
I love the museum in Auckland.
Come
The
on, you've
Auckland
been to New
Museum.
Zealand too?
Yes.
2 people have been to New Zealand.
This one
That's
has been everywhere, I'm
insane.
sure. No, I was in the.
What were you doing in New Zealand? Trying to get away
Vacation.
from Bonneville High?
Vacation.
Just vacation?
Yeah, I went to Auckland and to Fiji on
nice.
a trip. Yeah,
Wow,
they're like
okay.
right there, hop, skip, and a jump.
Oh, right. That is a good vacation.
That's
That
nice.
was
And
amazing.
Mark, so what were you doing in New Zealand? Were you
Oh Lord, I was doing whatever.
travel writing?
No. It was long before the travel writing began. But I mean, I was honestly doing anything that I could just to make a buck and get by. So, you know,
Well, it
in
goes
a
even
legitimate
further.
sense.
Okay.
So,
Because prostitution is legal in New Zealand, by the way.
was it Karenga Hoppy Road?
Yes,
K Road?
correct. Usually
Yeah.
hookers
So,
on K Road.
no, I was in the Coromandel for a while. I did some landscaping there. I was down in South Island. I worked at a record store in Dunedin. I used to pick cherries in Blenheim. I
Wow,
painted a house
nice.
in Greymouth and Hokitika. I mean, I did
Wow,
a lot
you
of
had
different
a good
things.
year in New Zealand.
Yeah,
That's
so I
cool.
did that, and I've spent the rest of my life ever since then trying to chase that sort of feeling of wonder and excitement that, you know.
Why didn't you move to New Zealand, and why didn't you stay there then? Why move to New Orleans?
Well, because as you can imagine, it's kind of hard to immigrate to New Zealand, and also you know,
Did you try
it just didn't-
actually?
Well, I mean, I did. I honestly looked
didn't want
into
you?
maybe getting a.
Are you
I'm sure they
serious?
didn't.
You couldn't get into New Zealand? That's a pretty low bar there. You know. Is that true?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did look into getting a work visa and a student visa, but you know, it's, I think at the time I had to be offered some sort of job that no
Yeah.
New Zealander could do, and so that's a very, very high bar to me.
Like local jobs.
Yeah, because otherwise I'd be considered taking local
Well, you
jobs.
do have to lie about it.
Well, I mean, I now I know
Havila
that.
doesn't
You're like,
agree with.
let's steal
We're
flowers,
stealing
let's
flowers.
lie to people,
You have
let's
to.
get bad
I'm an
publicity.
immigrant to the United States. You have to totally lie. Otherwise, I mean, what job is there that you could not do that a New Zealander couldn't do?
Maybe if
You
I
gotta
had a
make it up.
grant, maybe if I had a grant and I had a Havila back then.
Yes, you need an immigration attorney is what you actually need. You just have to
Exactly.
make it up.
You want to go now?
Well, thank you. No. I have a very happy, fortunate life here, and I
Yeah.
love New Orleans
And
more
you
than
were
anywhere.
supposed to come, and your path supposed to lead you to this chair right here with us today.
My friend, you
Do
speak
you-
so much
Okay.
wisdom, and I so appreciate that. I'm not even being sarcastic. No, I absolutely
Okay.
believe you.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I don't know. I was going to ask you to tell us your question number one.
Question number one. No, we're gonna.
Are they points or questions?
No. They're questions that I thought that I might need, but conversation's going pretty well, so I may not need them.
You need them.
No. I want to get everybody's advice, and can we just do and I want to include you in on this right now. But Danielle, you're the first. No. This is coming for you, my friend. I have a hard time falling asleep sometimes. I often wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, and it's hard for me to fall asleep. What is a good strategy for falling back asleep in the middle of the night?
Well, I am a very bad person to ask that. I can fall asleep anywhere, almost any time.
Yeah.
But if I am having trouble falling asleep, I watch Frasier. So
Write that down.
Because it's so
Frasier.
good. Because it's so good. Or because
well, I've
it's so
seen
boring?
it so many times. It just makes me feel like I'm at home.
Okay. Frasier.
Okay, so you watch Frasier.
I watch Frasier.
Yeah.
All right. Duly noted. Grant?
I listen to the BBC.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh,
Radio
that's
on.
much better.
Yeah. If you have a phone that's got tune-in radio on it, or a Sonos sound system or anything that can pull that in, you can listen to the BBC.
What is it about the BBC that puts you to sleep? I mean,
It's
the people on there
soporific.
have the best accents. Like, they're so aristocratic, and they sound like they have such authority. I'm
Right.
like, oh, God, the
I
BBC
think
is saying I'm going
it's
to trust
relatively
them.
interesting for the few minutes that you're still awake, and then it tends to put you to sleep because it's sort of it's not that interesting.
Yeah. There's a good
It's sort of
cadence to it. It's all about the
Yeah.
cadence, you know?
So that works for me. I find that works.
All right,
Havila, what
Havila?
do you do?
It is so interesting that you asked that question. Because literally 2 nights ago, I listened to a recording from Wayne Dyer. And he was talking about awakening and consciousness.
Okay.
He said, he asked everybody who was in the audience, there's like 3,000 people in the audience, he asked them, does anybody consistently wake up at the same time, anytime between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
And there was like quite a few people who kept raising their hands, and he said he wakes up at like 2:31 every morning. And he was like, he kept fighting it. And he was like, why am I waking up? Like, go back to sleep. And finally, he embraced it and said, there's something that the universe is trying to tell me. Maybe it's time for me to listen. So he said, get up, get a piece of paper, and allow whatever comes through you to go down on that paper. So embrace that you keep waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
All right.
And see what value is there for you in that time.
And if it's
you can
good-
always go back to sleep.
If it's good, let's write a song, bro.
I don't know if it's going to be very good material. It might
You don't
just
know.
be like my grocery list of things I was trying to remember, you know?
Hey,
Or it may be
Havila,
your
did
next
you
great novel.
Might be.
did you do that, Havila? Did you try that?
Oh, I don't get up in the middle of the night.
So you haven't taken that advice.
No, because I don't get up in the middle of the
Okay.
night. Or if I
Ever.
do get up, it's literally just to go to the bathroom, and then I just like stumble right back into bed.
So you never have a problem waking up in the...
Oh, no. And then, too, I guess because my hours are so crazy anyways,
Are
I'm
they?
probably going to bed at 2 o'clock.
Do you have late nights?
I
You stay up?
do. I do. Especially if I get into like the creative process. I'm such a I get so focused and so like centered on something. I want to get it done, and I want to get it done right, and I won't stop until it's done.
Oh, wow.
So I will stay up until. I mean, I've stayed up like days at a time.
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like the opposite of ADD. Whatever
It's
that
like
is.
hyper-focused.
Yeah, it's like you can't stop.
yes.
Rather than you can't get started, you
Yes.
can't stop. Well, that's an interesting...
What do you attribute that to, Havila?
Maybe dedication, a little bit of perfectionism. I can get like hyper concentrated and focused on things, and I have like my mind wants to get things completed.
Right.
And so, like, there's something that won't let go until it's done. So it could be jeans. I don't know. I mean, it's worked for me so
When you
far.
said that,
so-
I was like the acid wash, or like the kind with the sparkle butts, or no?
So
You know about the
I
sparkle
know
butts?
about the sparkle butts.
Yeah.
My mom wouldn't let me have those jeans.
No, but you
She
wanted
didn't
them?
want anyone looking at my butt.
she didn't.
She also didn't let me get anything that said anything like on my chest, like Abercrombie. Because when I was in middle school, that was the thing. She was
Yeah?
like, "That's gonna grow out anyway," and she was pretty right about that part. But she was like, "No one should be looking there anyway, Danielle."
That's funny.
She told you straight out you shouldn't have people looking at your tits or ass, basically. That's pretty good advice, I suppose.
I don't think I'd ever hear my mom say that phrase, but that's
there.
what she was implying.
Like, my mom wouldn't allow us to have stuff with, like, their branding on there. She's like, if they're not paying us for it, we're not
That's
wearing
That's
it.
a much better reason.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, Andrew Duhon is going to play us a song that he's just written, I assume. Have you just written it, Andrew?
I sure have.
Okay, so come back for that. We're back with Happy Hour and a brand new song from Andrew Duhon off the album. This album has been out now, your new album has been out for a year almost, right?
Just about. May
So-
20. Well, basically, one of the weekends at Jazz Fest is basically the.
Okay. So what
the
happens?
anniversary,
How
right?
often are you supposed to put out a new record these days?
I mean, I think 18 months.
Okay.
So,
So are you working on this?
yeah, but 18 months ain't going to happen.
No, that's pretty short. So this is a beautiful looking. Is this dobro, this guitar, or what is playing around with it?
No, it doesn't have a pickup. In fact, it's kind of hard to mic these things effectively. And I just find
That's why we
that,
have Thomas.
Right. But I guess, yeah, you could mic it on a podcast fairly easily, but I think on a stage it becomes
That's
live
difficult.
sound. It's a tough thing. I've been renting this place right here for 8 years now. Landlord and I get along just fine somehow. Only got one real complaint, that the deed ain't in my name. I got to find me someplace I can lay claim. It's a marvel I can hardly comprehend, that a man can come to own himself a piece of land. I got to find me someplace I can lay claim. Maybe up there somewhere in the foothills of Appalachia. Maybe right down here on the coastal plain. All I know is I got to patch up the landlord's walls as I hear that green grass call. I got to find me someplace I can lay claim. Wanna toss my coffee grounds in the garden out back. Wanna look through the blackberry bushes for a little snack. I'ma spring a couple dogs out the pound, let them run around, have free reign. Yeah, I gotta find me someplace I can lay claim. Most my life, yeah, I've been a-traveling. Always gonna find a reason to roam. But as the winding roads unraveling, I see a light up ahead for a place I'ma call home. Oh, yeah. It might all go in flames. Nothing gamble, nothing gamble. Find myself a place I got to find myself a place to lay claim. You know, the scribble of like a place to lay claim came
somewhere in the travels, and then you put that in your pocket, and then you mess around with that lick, and you're like, oh, I could sing that. Find that place that and they play, and then, that's like it's a pretty predictable, folky progression, But I thought, well, that's an easy way to write a quick song, and I think that's what I wanted to invest in, that idea. And there's some things that feel like they need more time, and you wanna like wring out every bit of emotion you have about something. But I think with that idea, it was about like 48 hours of what comes of this is probably the first draft, and that's what that is. So I think that's what.
Danielle, how do you write? Do you write like that?
A
Do you
little
start
bit.
with an idea?
You have such an articulate way of describing how you write a song. When everyone asks me, I'm like, well, I thought of this thing, and then I sat in a corner by myself until it sounded like a song.
Couldn't get nothing done, and I drank whiskey, and I fell asleep, and I passed out. I woke up, and there was this draft
and then there was a
I
song.
thought of 3 different exes when I wrote this. Now they piss me off.
Sad songs are easier, man. Sad songs
They
are
are,
easier.
they're pretty
Dan,
easy.
you're going to play us a happy song now, though,
I
right?
am gonna. I actually write way more happy songs.
Oh, good for you.
Well, I
Yeah.
think what happens is I get sad, and then I get really mad that I'm sad. I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it works. And then I get really mad about it, and then I write a song, and I'm like, I'm gonna be happy now, and then it ends up being a happy song. So I'm gonna grab my guitar.
Okay. Grab your guitar, and we'll have time for one more happy song. And then we've got a couple of books on the table here, too. This is a book, this is a #1 bestseller.
Yes, it
that you've written yourself, called How to Become a Publicity Magnate.
It is.
How did you get to have a #1 bestseller?
It's by hitting. It was the
How
number
do
one
you do
bestseller
that?
on Amazon.
I guess if you're a publicity magnate, you have better have a best-selling book. Good point.
You better be doing what it is that you are sharing with others to do.
Can you make anybody famous?
Can I make anyone famous?
Yeah, or not necessarily famous, but can you get good publicity for it? Can you do it for anybody?
Certainly, I can
Not just
show
yourself?
people how to add value to others and how to connect with the proper audiences. Producers, show hosts, they're always looking for great guests. They're always looking for great content for their
Right.
shows so that the audience stays engaged. And so people who have value to share need to be getting out there. You could be the best at what you do. You could be the best musician, but if nobody knows about you, what good are you doing for yourself or the world?
Right.
And so it really is about, first and foremost, getting out of your own way, because opportunity is everywhere. And then there is a formula that you can use to be able to get yourself more visible. Then when you get to that place where people start to call upon you and say, hey, I need you on my show. I need that something that only you have, because we all have something unique.
Weed. How do you know this stuff?
How do I know
Yeah,
it?
did you go to school for this, or did you have some sort of
My
epiphany?
degree is in dramatic arts and communication, and I minored in psychology. So not only understanding, and when I graduated from college when I was 19, I was running a $160 million business by the time I was 21.
What? You're running a $160 million business?
Yeah.
Weed.
Why did you stop doing that? That sounds like a great way.
I was working for Hewlett Packard at the time, so
Yeah.
I was running a piece of their business and also their spokesperson on the Home Shopping Network and QVC.
You were on the Home Shopping Network in QVC. Oh, that is a whole other fucking show. I can't believe we haven't got to that. You were actually on the Home
I was
Shopping
the
Network.
on-air salesperson